getting hot, think of when name pop, my name drop. Ain't gonna rock the spot, but they got. See you with my team try rap toss the pot. What you saying ain't mine, so it doesn't mean a lot bigger. When they go buy this, pot is bigger, money legal.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Tonight is Purple Pill Preston night, where we're interviewing everyone's friend. It's Tyler. Everyone's friend. It's Tyler.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, nice to get to talk to you, Tyler.
Same. It's an honor to speak to you guys. I guess face to face or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, my friend about you, and I got a chance to check out a couple of your videos before this.
Oh yeah, how did you like my videos?
Yeah, they're short and to the point.
Thank you. Yeah, I try not to make my videos drag out because like there's some YouTubers that I noticed that they drag on forever, and so I just want to make my videos like film it in a way that's actually short to the point.
And keep the intro. We love the intro.
Oh yeah, like you want to hear like the story about the introduction?
What?
Okay, it was like I believe it was, I want to say 2014 or whatever. I was like in some sort of Skype meeting, and so what happened was that my group of friends, they tell me, "Hey, it's everyone's friend is Tyler," and it just so happened, of course, like one of the people that I was friends with was like a musician, and so he said, "I want to make an intro for you," and then he started doing the song. He sent me the MP3, and from there it's like, of course, what it is right now. And it's kind of funny because more recently, I think 2 days, yeah, it was 2 days ago, I actually refilmed the intro, so it's much more up to date. So that's the story about my song.
You have a picture of yourself looking all badass like that, and then followed by a cartoon of yourself.
Yeah. It's also kind of funny because like somebody else also drew me that cartoon, so I figure why not have it for the introduction.
Yeah.
That's Brass's job.
Well, yeah, it makes my job a lot easier because I usually have to make the cartoon photos of the guests for the thumbnail, but you already got that covered.
Yeah, because it was actually made by somebody who called himself a fan of mine. I think it was 4 years ago. And of course it just stuck. It just stuck like that. So every time I make like a video with a thumbnail, I just use that same image. And I'm really grateful that someone actually made it for me. It was really awesome that they did that.
Yeah, it is very well kept. Well, today we want to go over like it's more going to be we're like typical interview stuff where we're going to ask you a couple of questions, and if we have time, we'll just have a general discussion along with that.
Okay.
So let's see, we got a series of questions here, and the first one is, now you've been described as a sort of loose cannon of sorts in regards to politics. How would you describe yourself politically?
Wow, that's like a really interesting question. Well, first and foremost, like as far as me being registered to vote, I'm registered as independent, mostly because I don't really believe in sticking to like one party systems or another party system because I think you need to actually look and evaluate how candidates actually portray themselves and how they present their policies. And so for elections, on some occasions, I would just vote for like Democrat. On other occasions, I would just vote for a Republican. But as far as my social leanings, I tend to lean socially liberal on things. For example, my personal thoughts about drugs. It's not just like I think marijuana should just be legal. I think all drugs should be legal. As
My
far as
man.
like my thoughts about like prostitution, the last time I checked, at least, was that I think it was like Las Vegas or somewhere that actually has it legal, and that everyone else is like illegal. So I think that prostitution should also be legalized. My thoughts about marriage. I think that, of course, I am in favor of gay marriage. A matter of fact, back in 2012, yeah, it was 2012 during like Obama versus Mitt Romney. I actually voted in favor of gay marriage before it had the Supreme Court case. And so I also believe in gay marriage. I also think that, of course, gay couples should adopt other kids. And I don't understand why there are actually some people that try to prevent that from happening, but that's my personal views. On a lot of issues, I don't actually subscribe into like the idea of that we should always keep tradition, because I think sometimes in order to progress as a society, that there actually needs some sort of changes to actually push people forward. Of course, too much progressive is actually a bit much, and so sometimes you do in fact need conservatives to slow you down. So I think like I see like both sides as yin and yang. They both really need each other. And I think it's kind of sad that we always tend to just, demonize each other because you're like a different view from another person. And I kind of feel sad to see like a lot of people who call themselves like liberal or leftist to actually demonize those all the time from the right just because they're right wing, or assume that they're bad because they're right wing. And so I don't think that actually helps for conversations. I think when you have conversations to people, you should always try to be as polite as possible, not always yell at each other. And I've seen like these stories or hear about these stories on Twitter or whatever, like the news, of people breaking up friendships just because they're like a Trump supporter. And I don't think just because someone's a Trump supporter, I would just automatically just break up the friendship. I want to, chat with them and also understand their perspective. Because if everybody thought the exact same thing, for me, it would be so boring. Because I think that having different opinions and having different groups of friends can actually broaden your perspective on a lot of things and actually get you informed on a lot of things. But again, to answer your question, to get back to your question, I tend to lean socially on issues according to my political compass test.
And what are to balance things out? What are you conservative about?
What am I conservative about? I'm not sure if it's like a conservative position or not, but I guess because a lot of people on the far, far left advocate for open borders, I say the quote unquote conservative position I probably have would be like, illegal immigrations. I don't think it's okay for illegal immigrants to come to our country. I think they should probably go through like a legal process like everybody else. It's not fair for legal immigrants to come here and actually do the process properly, while illegal immigrants also come to our countries. And a lot of businesses tend to benefit from like these immigrants, these illegal immigrants, not having knowledge about the minimum wage, because of course like the nationwide minimum wage is like 7.25, and of course I guess this depends on the state. Now it's not like some states have $15 or whatever, but for the most part it's like 7.25 if I remember correctly. And I don't like how they pay like the illegal workers much lower wages. And of course, people who also are locals who are born in the country don't get their jobs either. So I don't like how illegal immigrants come to our country. I think they should do it in a legal matter. But I think that's probably the only kind of real conservative position I possibly have.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty fair. I completely agree with you when it comes to matters of drugs and prostitution. Of course, I'm sort of known online as the cocaine and hookers guy. So, so yeah, I'm completely on board on that regard. Um,
Another topic we tackle on sometimes is abortion. What's your position on that?
My personal position on abortion, I tend to reluctantly, by the way, reluctantly be pro-choice. I think the whole entire term of like abortion is really sad. It's like every time I have to talk about abortion, like it's kind of sad because the whole process is just, ugh. But I also understand like for cases like for incest or like for rape and these other kind of extreme examples that of course we should not make it legalized illegalized, excuse me, because I think that if you were to have that to happen, of course, like the mother is also at risk of dying too. So if it has to be done, then it has to be done at like these sort of medical professional centers for it to be done. But I really, really hate it, really, really hate it when a lot of far left activists try to celebrate abortion. Like they do it all the time with these sort of late night shows,
Yeah.
and they have like these sort of like hashtags that's like shout your abort. Like no, like this is supposed to be like a private matter. This is supposed to be something that's actually sad because you're terminating a life, and so if by doing that kind of stuff, you make everybody look really bad. You make everybody else look like maniacs. So I don't like those kind of activists that try to trivialize abortion like that because it's obviously a personal matter and honestly something that should be taken very seriously, not made fun of.
Yeah, I remember how funny it was. Like originally, it was trying to think of the word. It was with Bill Clinton. It was safe, legal, and rare. But they sort of the far left has sort of chucked that completely out the window.
Right. It's just then I also saw something that was just mind blowing. I think it was a few years ago or 2 years ago, where some of these people, I believe it was like New York or whatever, maybe it's like New York or those blue states, where they proposed to have like abortion after birth or something. And I'm like, are you? That's fucking murder. Like, no way. So it seems as though, like, as far as my position of abortion, obviously, I feel like I'm pro-choice, but it's in a very reluctant matter because, like, I understand the gravity of the situation, but I also don't think, of course, like people should celebrate it or minimize the gravity
Like
of
in
what they're
cases
doing.
of like rape or
Yeah,
incest.
yeah.
I mean, that's pretty fair. Yeah. Let's get on to this. What are your thoughts on President Oompa Loompa reject?
The walking orange himself.
Oh God. Okay, President Trump. Where do I even begin with President Trump? I'll start with the most recent thing. Okay.
Let's begin with Obama.
Okay. So with the whole entire birther movement, like it's so strange. It's like the most stupid. It's not just Obama that actually it was also like Clinton too, because Clinton and Trump went after Obama. They both say that he was not from the United States, even though of course he was born in freaking Hawaii. So the whole entire birther movement was just stupid to me. He also attacked free speech a lot. Like he sued Bill Maher, I believe, for making some sort of orangutan joke. And
Yeah,
he
he said he looked like
also,
an orangutan, which he sort of does.
yeah, right. And he sued him. And then there was also some sort of threat. I remember it was for Saturday Night Live because it was Alec Baldwin making fun of Trump too. And then there was also some sort of, I believe, commercial criticizing him. And he was also trying to sue that company as well.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a really good record for that sort of free speech stuff, even though he's supposedly supposed to be advocate for it.
Yeah, it's like people back in what was it? Yeah, 2016. They were saying that he was supposed to be the free speech candidate. Like, no, like all of his actions so far has been against free speech. Then it's also the matter of video games. Now, the
Yeah.
that topic about video games is not just for Donald Trump either. It's like a lot of the politicians who happen to be Republican have been attacking video games for years and years and years and years.
I've
So,
noticed Democrats
Huh?
wait, the
on that
Democrats
bandwagon as
what?
well.
Oh, the Democrats too?
I've
Like what?
noticed some Democrats getting on board with the whole bashing video games as well.
Uh,
Although the far left, mainly what they do is they go after, like, let's say, I'm trying to think how to, like, Bayonetta or one of those, like,
oh,
that,
because
like,
it's like too sexy, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's sort of a weird thing. So, on the Republican side, they're saying video games are too dangerous. Like, but on the other hand, they're on the far left side, they're saying that video games are too sexual.
Yeah. That's whole
And,
entire idea about like games being too sexualized. It seemed to start with Anita Sarkeesian back in 2014. I remember like when I saw the videos for the first time, like, are people really taking her seriously? And then I learned to find out that they were actually playing her videos in college campuses.
this
So,
is all retroactive. There's Tomb Raider and Tekken and stuff like that had sexy characters for a long time, and then Sarkeesian came bitching about one of them on Metal Gear Solid 5. That one was fucking sexy, but like her rant was just a major distraction.
And what's so funny about it too, like she's also been caught not actually recording her own footage. She just takes people's clips from YouTube and say that's her own clips. There was also this commercial for like the women's versus tropes thing, where she had like this Xbox controller, and you can clearly see that it was not even on. And then also the most famous example I could think of right now is of course Hitman. Now there was this mission where you were like some sort of strip place or whatever, and she tried to make it like as it's like some sort of like you have to hit the women first to progress in the level. However, it turns out that of course you could do other things besides just hitting the women.
Ooh.
Yeah, so so of course the attack on video games is another example of like Donald Trump because he actually had like some sort of clip show of all these sort of violent video games like Call of Duty or stuff as evidence that it makes people want to do these kind of stuff. He also has some sort of meeting in the White House about video games. It was the strangest news I ever heard. It was like 2-3 years or something ago. And then I remember, of course, like for Antifa, it's happened, this week, where he announced that he wants to call it like some sort of terrorist organization. Now, let's be clear. I do believe that, of course, Antifa are just evil. Like I don't like how they just bash windows and, of course, hit people and stuff. So I'm obviously against Antifa. And I also find it strange that some people say that they're not an organization because they obviously organize. They have their own flag. They have groups across the country, not just for this country, but also like outside of this country. They freaking plan out these attacks. So obviously, there's some sort of organization going behind it. But at the same time, I don't want to automatically assume that because someone is a supporter of Antifa, they're immediately a terrorist. Like, for example, obviously, if a person bashed the windows or bashed a person, they should actually, face consequences. That's for sure. But if there's like some sort of, college student just supporting Antifa, I don't think we should probably, look after that kind of person. So I feel as though if he's not, more like into more detail about how they're gonna do this kind of stuff, it might actually, remove some sort of type of due process or something.
Yeah, and it could challenge free speech. That was a big worry on the libertarian side. That it's mainly a way to just um, basically do a witch hunt.
Speaking of video games, you've never heard the end of this about Grand Theft Auto always inspiring violence, and you have the freedom to pick up hookers, and then after they give you head, you kill them and then take their money.
Yeah, that's
Go
true.
running over everybody over and shooting swaths of cops and National Guard they throw at you.
Yeah. Like Grand Theft Auto is still like one of my favorite franchises. Actually, I just constantly play it. It's especially fun with the cheat codes all the time.
Yeah.
But I really hate it. Like nowadays, like games don't even have like the freaking cheat codes anymore, except for Grand Theft Autos and a few others.
Yeah.
Because in the past, I remember buying like these books of like these cheat codes, and you just press in the cheat codes, and it would actually work. Nowadays, they don't even have that anymore. And I also miss how they don't even have like the manuals because they used to put like a lot of effort in the manuals for games. Now there's like barely none at all. Just like a piece of paper and just that's it. I just kind of wish that they could actually spend more time and effort for the physical editions nowadays compared to what they do. So anyway, getting back to Donald Trump, of course, we talked about like Antifa, we talked about free speech, we talked about did we talk about drugs?
Yeah, a
No.
little bit. That was in the first question, but
Okay,
now
yeah.
Trump.
But okay, so like for like drugs, I think for of course I already answered like my personal stance about drugs. But as far as I remember, like Donald Trump, he had of course Jeff Sessions, and he wanted to crack down on marijuana. But luckily he actually got Jeff Sessions out. But then also at the same time, it was also kind of strange because he also attacked I think it was some sort of like vapor, like vape, yeah. where basically people just smoked a vape, and of course he made it illegal because apparently they actually try to say that it kills people, even though there's not much evidence that it actually killed that many people or something.
Well, I mean, it's like 3 people that we know of died from vape, and that's like more people die from that every other hour from cigarettes and alcohol.
Right, and I think it's just a personal choice. Like, why would they make that illegal? It's like it's stupid to just make it illegal, but whatever.
Oh,
And of course, like, what else do I want to add on to the list of stuff I think about Trump? um,
Until you get to that, there's weed, which if they do
yeah, yeah,
legalize it, it does kind of take the fun out of smoking it because it's illegal and it sort of helps with the buzz.
right. But overall, I think that just in general, Donald Trump is not that great. And I kind of hate to, admit this out loud, but it's not actually a secret because, like, for my original Twitter account, I openly admitted of actually voting for Donald Trump, and I honestly just regretted it because after all the stuff that he did right now and continues to do, I just feel as though that like I did a really bad vote because I honestly think that the main reason why I voted for Donald Trump was probably because of peer pressure because everybody wanted to do it to just trigger the lip tarts. And it's kind of sad because I don't think using like to trigger the lip tarts is a good argument because I think you should actually vote now. I guess now because I'm much more wiser now, but I think the best way to actually, vote for people is by policy and not to just trigger them. I mean, obviously, no matter what you do could be offensive to somebody. That's a fact. But I don't think trying to intentionally trigger somebody because you want to vote someone differently is actually to me counterproductive because I think you should vote for someone that actually represents your values and actually how you feel, not because you want to make people upset.
And it was at that point that I realized our country's going to hell either way, so I flipped the coin and landed on Trump.
Right.
and me, basically, I voted for Trump as well, although mainly it came down to me hating Hillary more.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of people feel that way. I think a lot of people also, besides being part of a bandwagon, was also, looked at Clinton too. So I think that's another factor why so many people voted for him.
Well, I mean, you
But
also have to remember that Trump is the first orange president.
yeah,
And he's another celebrity president like Reagan, who's also hero worship to this day.
yeah,
Well,
that
I
is
mean,
true.
we had 8 years of the first black president. Now we got Trump, and he's the first orange president. Hey, we're being very diverse in the colors of presidents we get.
Yeah, but still don't have a Native American president, which we need.
Oh yeah.
But what are your thoughts on Biden? Do you think you could be able to defeat Orange Man?
No, I don't think so. Now, I noticed that, for example, he actually stumbles a lot on his words, or sometimes he just does not know what he's saying. For example, facts matter more than facts, or something about the record player, something about. I remember that. And then he also had like this sort of thing that everybody was talking about last week about the black Carmen. Like he said that if you don't vote for me, you're not black. And that was like that's like the most racist thing I probably heard. Probably more racist than anything I heard from Trump actually. So that comment to me is kind of offensive because like it kind of removes the autonomy of black people. It assumes that all black people must vote a certain way, when in reality that's not true. I think people have the right to vote whoever they want to. But this is not just a problem for the left too, it's just for the right. Because I noticed like a lot of these personalities, like Charlie Kirk and also like what was it? Owens? Kansas Owens. They
Yes.
say like that black people should get off the Democratic plantation, which to me, I don't see any difference between that and also what Biden says. Because it also assumes that black people cannot vote for Democrats if they want to. So, of course, the answer lies in the middle. Like, obviously, everybody should vote whoever actually who actually represents them the best, and not because of some sort of partisan party lines.
Well, I mean, at least with Candace Owens, she can't be racist because racism is prejudice plus power.
Oh, I hate that. I hate it when people say that, because obviously anybody could be racist. You don't need a freaking institution to be racist. You could just be on the ground level and be racist. And if that's the case, that of course racism requires power, then does that mean all these African leaders in those countries are also racist too? If they really want to go that far?
And it's not racist.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's not racist if the white man's the target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
I've always found it funny they do that. Now, you actually touched on, the black community. You touched a bit on what Biden said about you ain't black if you don't vote for him. Now, being a black man, your community is often very much invoked by both political parties for better or worse. What are your thoughts on that, and what political issues do you actually see affecting the black community more?
Well, I think some sort of political issues that we're facing right now. Well, it's not just, I don't think it's just black people, but anybody. And this is the topic of police brutality. Now, of course, everybody heard about the story about George Floyd and what happened to him. He got killed by an officer putting his knee to his neck. And of course, there have been countless riots and protests going on right now.
And this is actually worse than the Rodney King situation because this guy's dead and he was just beaten to a pulp.
Right. And so it seemed to me it's not just a black thing, but just brutality in general is something that affects everybody. And so I think we need to actually do something about it and actually change how we conduct things for the police stuff. But I also want to say that I don't support Black Lives Matter either, for my own personal reasons. Of course, everybody's against police brutality. There's no disagreement about that.
Yeah,
But
those motherfuckers think they're untouchable and get away with anything. I've had numerous run-ins with them. Fuck those motherfuckers.
right. So the main reason why I don't support Black Lives Matter is because a lot of the people, not just the individual activists, but the leaders themselves are just blatantly just anti-white and anti-cop and think that all cops are bastards, which is not true. Yes, there are bad cops, that's true, but not all of them are bastards. And so, for example, you can go on. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's fine. I was just gonna say that. I mean, it's true with I always tell black people, if you really think the cops specifically go after you real well, you should actually see what they do to people in the trailer parks.
Right. And so I think, of course, it's anti-white, anti-cop because, first of all, there was this guy. He used to be part of Black Lives Matter. His name was DeRay McKinnon, and he said on AJ Plus that, of course, like we said earlier, that black people cannot be racist against white people because of prejudice and power. And of course, there was also this founder for Black Lives Matter Canada. She also stated that please, Allah, don't give me the strength to actually not kill white people. And it was also crazy. So then there was also this one instance where there was some sort of gay pride parade in Canada, and Black Lives Matter also interrupted that gay pride parade. There was also the incidents about, of course, the library where people were just reading books and they just stormed in and just said Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And then also I remember this clip from 2015 where these activists, they just put up a sign and it said pigs in a blanket fried them like bacon and some sort of stupid crap. And then also I remember some sort of one of the founders stated that she was inspired by this cop killer. Her name was Asada Shakur, and that's the main inspiration for Black Lives Matter. And so I personally, even though it's 2020, and maybe the movement have changed since 2015, but it's one of the main reasons why I cannot trust that movement is because of what happened. and what we know and what we documented from 2015. And so hopefully it would change their attitude or how they approach stuff, because honestly, that kind of stuff is just cancerous. But getting back to like your question, like of course, police brutality affects everybody. I also think that for like urban neighborhoods, that we should actually focus more on like improving schools, because sometimes the schools are also run down. Like of course, the books are not up to date, and of course, materials are also not up to date. And so I think it would be nice if we can actually fix the school systems and actually make it nice for people to get their educations, or sometimes find good teachers and actually connect with the students. Because if you don't actually get good teachers, students will not connect. And so it's very important to actually, get qualified teachers to make, students learn about different topics like math or science and history and so on. As far as the other issue that I noticed within the Black community is also the issue of like having no fathers, because a lot of families, they don't have fathers because they're in jail. And of course, like a lot of the stuff that they're in jail for obviously is like drug related. I think it's like as high, I'm not sure if it's true or not. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's probably as high as like 70% are in jail because of some sort of drug related crime. And so I think by legalizing like stuff like marijuana, it would probably actually help that kind of situation go down. And also, I believe that they should probably, value the family system more, because obviously to, raise kids in an environment without their father and actually just have their mom is not that great, because it takes two to tango. You need to actually have both parents to learn about different values and different lessons to grow up. And so when you have, of course, like nobody to look up for as a father figure, I don't think it's actually really healthy.
And also, there's getting back on the bad side of cops. Like where I'm at, there was two of them recently had a spree where they were stopping women and asked to give them head in exchange to get them out of tickets, because people are like, "Oh no, no, please, I can't afford a ticket. I don't need a ticket. What can I do? Anything I can do?" He's like, "I have something in mind." And they give him head, and then sometimes they would just give them the ticket anyway and send them on their way.
Wow.
That's horrible. It's one thing to sort of bribe them into giving you head, but to give them the ticket afterwards, that's something else.
That's consider that should that be considered rape?
Uh,
Um,
I
that,
mean, like if they say that, yes, I want to give you like head, oh man, like that's actually a good question. I actually never thought about it actually. If they said yes to the head, then it's not really rape. But if
it's
but if the officer forced her to, suck his dick, then obviously it's rape.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
clearly.
They got him though.
Yeah.
They got him.
Yeah.
Uh, how would you rate the effectiveness of both the Democratic and Republican parties in addressing the coronavirus pandemic?
Well, I think that how do I answer this? I think for the Republicans' case, it seemed as though that both sides to me appear to actually care about the situation, though I think there seems to be like a lot of misinformation going on. For example, I remember like some of the politicians like on the left, they started to state, because of the WHO, they started to state that you should not wear any mask under any circumstances. And I think that was incredibly irresponsible of them to do that. Because obviously, if you were to wear a mask, it would actually prevent the spread of the virus, and also not just the virus but also germs in general. Like if a person just coughs, of course obviously you don't know what they have, and so if they cough and it comes near your face, like it's there to just protect your face. And so obviously I think the left tend to of course misinform people about like the mask. But then after they corrected the mask and actually forced people to wear the mask to go inside stores, it seemed like the right is also doing that too, where they say, well, you see, I'm not going to wear the mask because of my personal freedom. And I'm like, dude, this is like Darwinism. Like, obviously, the mask is actually going to actually help you out with the whole entire coronavirus thing.
Hey, their body, their choice.
And here's one of the biggest ironies of the this whole protest thing. Like, the Democrats lost their shit when conservatives were protesting, but when they do it, it's okay. It's okay when they do anything.
I know.
Right.
There's,
It's
so,
so
I mean,
strange.
that's sort of typical tribalism within the parties.
Right. And so there's also this one quotation from Donald Trump that I saw that I just could not believe that he said. And of course, I'm talking about the whole, what was it, bleach Lysol comment. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, he said, like, to inject yourself with like the bleach or Lysol to prevent the coronavirus. And like, that's like the biggest.
Wasn't he being sarcastic though, or was he really serious?
I'm not sure if
I
he's
think
serious.
I think it was more of a miss. Like I think he had something going. Like I think he had gotten some information from some guy, and he cut out a lot of the information and just summed it up, and it came out weird.
You don't say.
Because that's sort of what Trump does. Like someone gives him a piece of information, and the hamster that goes through his brain sort of just picks out like parts of that, and it just comes out of his mouth.
Oh, and you know what's this funny as shit is that he finally got banned from Twitter for like a day.
Wait, are you talking about that comment that he did about like
When the looters start looting and start
yeah,
shooting,
yeah.
like the president of the United States censored on Twitter.
That's funny.
It's kind of funny because at the same time he was also proposing for like companies like Twitter to be more open, like for the public against like this social media censorship.
It's a biased platform. Everybody's known this for years.
Yeah. It's...
Another thing that made my week is that CNN reporters got arrested.
Man, we're living in the Twilight Zone, I swear.
I think we're living somewhere between Soylent Green and Mad Max.
Well, I mean, what people said, like how stressful this whole situation has been, and I said, "What are you talking about?" Like, on one minute I get to watch a bunch of women beating the hell out of each other for a roll of toilet paper, and the next after that I get to watch a bunch of people burning down their own neighborhood to prove a point.
Yeah. Like I just look at this from the like outside of my house and just laugh at it because all this going on right now, it reminds me so much about 2015 or 2016. It's just like the same amount of absurdity going on right now. It's wow.
Welcome to Clown World.
I know, like it's kind of funny because I work at some sort of supermarket, and for the first 3 months, like of course the toilet paper was just all out, completely gone, and it actually, of course, yeah, it took 3 months for it to get like a new shipment of toilet paper, and then we got like a lot of toilet paper now because of people just keep on buying it. It's like more important than food, more important than water. Like everybody must have that toilet paper.
You know what the sad thing about all this is that people in the 80s and 90s were itching to get to the 21st century and like, oh, we're gonna be so much smarter. Look at all we're gonna have technology. We're gonna go to space and colonize. We're gonna experiment with sea monkeys or some shit. We're gonna do all of this. We're gonna be so much better. And then people now look back, are itching to get back to the 80s and 90s. Like life was so much better back then.
Oh my god. Like, I don't think anybody should have some sort of expectation that the future years would actually get better. I think it's just going to be just a repeat of what we're experiencing right now. So it's just, I'm just going to just laugh at the meantime of all this madness that we're experiencing right now.
Like that stuff you see in dystopian science fiction movies, like there's bits of truth in there. More than you may think.
Yeah, I noticed that. But I'm still waiting for flying cars, like for like Back for the Future, and also the flying, like the hovering, like skateboard or whatever.
Flying hover cars and virtual
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that.
Neon skyscrapers and all that.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that. It would be so cool if we actually have flying cars. But then the problem will be like, space traffic and also, air collision.
Like, yeah, like Fifth Element made it look so much fun.
To get like thousands of feet in the air and crash and fall.
Oh
So
man.
that's
What do you make of the Oh yeah, we already asked you earlier if you lean towards a classical liberal or a mild conservative.
so yeah. We'll
Yeah.
go on to the
Yeah. It's already been done. Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
What
What
do
do
you
you
make?
make of the presidential cult of personality, the radical sense of nationalism, and the imposing nature of the far right?
That's kind of funny because I actually criticized the far right. Well, they used to call themselves the alt right back when I was criticizing them. And I just could not believe it. Like, basically, it was like people like Richard Spencer. It was also some sort of German chick. I forgot her name right now. But it was some sort of girl with some sort of glasses. Her name was Rage Over, like, what was it?
Rage over
Rage Over
Storm.
Storm. Yeah. Rage Over Storm. I went after those kind of people in the past, and it's kind of sad and pathetic the ideas that they have, because they advocated stuff for like a separate ethno state, where it's like a white only place, and it's kind of funny because people like Tara McCartney would actually also advocate for that kind of stuff, even though she's clearly like a minority, and they will obviously would not accept her for any reason whatsoever. So and it was like the stupidest thing that I saw during that time period, because so many people advocated for that. And like when people try to push them on, like, how are you gonna do that without actually having some sort of violence against minorities, they would not answer. And then of course the whole entire like leak video of Richard Spencer calling like Jews kikes and stuff, that was like,
Ugh.
wow.
Yep. You
That
also
was like the most racist shit ever.
go after Sargon of Akkad and Dean Esme.
Yeah, Sargon of Akkad. I don't remember going after Sargon of Akkad actually. I remember going after like Dean Esme before, but it was like a long time ago. Like I don't try to go after that guy anymore because it's like too crazy for me. But getting back to the alt right, like their ideology is stupid, and I criticized them in the past. As far as the idea of like nationalism, I don't think it's inherently wrong for people to be, like, well, I mean, it's kind of different between like nationalism and patriotism, but I don't think that it's okay to be like a white nationalist or like a black. Like, I'm not into like nationalism at all, because I think if you were born a certain way, whether you're like black or white, like there's nothing really to be proud about. Because I think the only things that you should be proud about is actually your actions and how you conduct yourself and your own personal achievements that you do.
And there's also gay pride, like being proud of something you can't control.
Oh
Always
yeah, yes. Now, obviously, I'm not against gay people. I have
Right.
gay friends. I also talk to like gay people all the time, and I don't get, not just for gay pride, but also for Black History Month too. Like, I don't understand why we need like a Black History Month, because to me, Black history is also American history, and my personal position about Black History Month is the same exact position as Morgan Freeman. And so it's not just gay pride, but it's also Black History Month. I'm pretty consistent across the board with this kind of, being proud of being X race or being proud of X orientation. Like, I don't think there's something to be proud of because you're actually born to be that way. And so you can't really control how you're born. So,
There's no black history or white history. It's all black and all white.
right. Now, getting back to the cult of personality, right?
Yeah, of basically every Republican president since the '60s.
Now, personally, I find it so bizarre how people would just. I'm not sure if it's a joke or if it's like, being ironic, but they call like, Donald Trump like emperor god and whatever, and have him have the crown and stuff. I think some of it might be joking.
Yeah, it was this one guy was drunk out of his ass and posted on Twitter.
Right. So
You know,
I mean,
because
I mean, obviously, I think maybe some people might be joking, some of them might be trolling, but I think there might be some people might think it unironically. So, but it's kind of strange, it's kind of creepy, it's kind of cult-like to me.
they just revere him like the North Koreans revere their dictator. It's just a cult of personality, but nothing really like divine about it. It's just the hero worship is so strong.
Right. And so
Like he's
I
not.
don't.
It's not like they're not like pharaohs or Caesars, which were god kings.
Right. So I don't think you should worship anybody. Like I think anybody could also be subject to criticism. Like to think that there's no fault and nobody is not true, because everybody has faults. Everybody has their own personal issues. And so if somebody criticizes Trump, it's not because they have quote unquote Trump derangement syndrome or something. I think there are legit criticism that could be levied towards the president that's actually concerning, that could be authoritative. And so you cannot just dismiss the criticism automatically just because it's your emperor god, whatever.
That's
But,
true.
now, for the sins of the far left, what do you make of all this woke shit in today's quote unquote entertainment? The queer baiting, the sexualizing of kids, and all this censorship of mild conservatives.
Okay, that's like a lot of packaging right here. So, uh, now let's start with the woke shit. Like drag queens. I mean, not yeah, drag kids. Sorry, but like drag kids are just disgusting. Now, I don't have any problem if people want to be like RuPaul when they're 18 years old, but that's the thing. They had to be freaking 18 years old to do that kind of stuff. To be a drag queen is to also sexualize yourself. And so when I hear these stories of these little kids putting on like drag makeup and wigs and stuff to sexualize their bodies, and then to go to like these bars and do these sort of it's like the most creepy thing ever. It's like I don't understand why there are so many people defending that kind of shit. Like obviously it's wrong. It's not just the drag queens, I mean the drag kids that I have a problem with, but I also have problems with beauty pageants for the same exact reason, because they're sexualizing little girls into these kind of dresses to be sexy. So I'm against both of them. As far as like the woke shit for like Netflix shows and stuff,
Trying to make everything gay. Like almost every female's lesbian and all this. Yeah, all that.
right. So I don't think because there's a character that's gay, that's automatically woke. Obviously, there could be like characters that are just shoe hand just to be gay, but I also think there probably are moments in shows where it just feels natural. Like, for example, I know for a fact that some characters are shoehorned just to be like black or whatever, even though they are based upon pre-established characters. And so I don't think it's good to just shoehorn like the pre-established characters as a different orientation or a different race. I think if you were to make a gay character or like a minority character, that they should actually be their own original characters.
There with the recent one with relation to the borders and all that.
Right, right. But I think that as long as like there's of course characters that happen to be gay that actually don't actually focus on their gayness or being a minority or whatever, I have no problems with like gay characters
Right.
just being
I don't mind if they pop in once in a while, but this is
yeah.
obviously pandering. That's too much. It's not really realistic and doesn't work with the stories a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like I remember there was this one account on Twitter. His name is One Angry Gamer. You guys probably heard of him. Where he was just like freaking out over like anything that has anything gay related. So, for example, he was just freaking the fuck out about like what was it? After like that author show where it's like talking animals, and they had like some sort of gay wedding. He was just freaking out about that whole entire scene. And then he was also freaking about that Castlevania character. I think he was bisexual, whatever. He was just going into graphic detail about sex and what. It's like, dude, like you obviously are like obsessed with this kind of stuff. Like, why you keep doing it time and time again? Like, it's one thing to criticize for like shoehorning characters, but to just go after characters because they happen to be gay in the show, really?
Right. It's just
I mean, it becomes bad when it more or less looks like it's the character's just there to be a token character.
Right.
It's not like if they're going to put it like it's better like if the sex of the character is not really what's focused on. It's like what's the actual development of the character.
and like then you have South Park, which show we need in these crazy times, which rips on everybody, like absolutely everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because there was this one episode of South Park I saw where it was like this transgender competition, and it was like the funniest shit ever.
Transgender.
Yeah, it was like this guy lifting up the weights.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
Yeah,
there was also this.
he was a Randy Savage, like a Randy Savage model, sort of modeled after
Right, and also there's my favorite episode.
Randy Savage.
Yeah, like my favorite episode so far this year has been like the China episode where that guy tried to sell marijuana to China. And it was like the funniest shit ever, too.
And then there's but then there's also it's getting into animated stuff like the Simpsons tried well, they got rid of Apu finally after all this struggle, and that's all this offense is just retroactive. Like literally nobody had a problem with him back in the day.
What's funny is because like the Simpsons just literally like a stereotype of everybody. It's not just a poo. It's like everybody was like a stereotype.
Everybody's walking stereotype, yeah.
Like of course you have like Krusty the Clown, like a stereotype of clowns. You have freaking like Homer Simpson as the stupid dad, and then of course like Groundkeeper Willie as like the angry Scotsman, and of course like stupid cops. And so basically everybody was like a stereotype in that show. So he was treated as equal like everybody else.
Yeah, and also Family Guy, which is just so hard left leaning, it's not even funny anymore. But they also took a whack at this woke stuff. At one time, they were like, "Yeah, I'm typing on my Instagram, bro, and I'm all posting, bro, and I'm all offended, bro."
Yeah, there was also for South Park. They have a whole entire episode just making fun of these SJW types, and it's kind of funny because besides like before like this whole entire poo controversy, The Simpsons also made fun of the college campus culture there, and it was also pretty funny too. But it's kind of sad that they also cave into, so it kind of made the episodes kind of pointless.
Well, thank God Futurama stopped its run before they could taint that.
Yeah, there was also this new show from the creator of The Simpsons. It's called Enchanted on Netflix, and it's pretty okay. It kind of reminds me so much about Futurama, but I don't think it's as funny as it, but it's still okay.
And
It has a similar art style to Futurama.
Yeah,
sci-fi references is partially what made Futurama great.
right. And this one is like more like medieval and more Game of Thrones kind of feel.
Thrones, yeah.
Yeah.
I still think Rome is better than Game of Thrones.
I'm still kind of disappointed with the finale for Game of Thrones. Like everything else was good, but the finale.
Yeah, they had a water bottle even a few episodes after.
Yeah,
they caught the coffee cup incident.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like after they pointed out that they had the water bottles in some shots, they went back and actually removed it for like the home releases that I got. But it's still like freaking dark as all shit for those battle scenes. Like it's shot super dark.
Yeah, this like Game of Thrones was like wrestling back in the Attitude Era. Everybody looked forward to it. Like I am not missing, like I'm gonna miss work for this. I'm not going to work for this. I gotta see this.
Yeah, they even have like these freaking watch parties at bars for Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I'm
And
normally
now like everybody got disappointed.
I normally just had
I would say the ending of Game of Thrones sucked.
what?
I said the ending of Game of Thrones sucked.
I still gotta binge on it some more, so trying to spoil too much.
Well, all that really matters is that we got to see a bunch of naked women in Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. That's really all that
Yeah, but
matters in the end.
during the time period it was based on, you could get killed for stuff like that.
Oh my goodness, like the whole naked like it's kind of funny because like most HBO shows actually have naked women if you really think about it. Like it's also for like Westwood too. If you really look close enough, like there's also plenty of naked women. It's not just women, but it's also men too. So.
All the naked women would fit perfectly in Rome.
Yeah. But is there any more questions so far?
Oh, that's about it.
No, we're actually approaching the end. Uh, so I was thinking, you got anything you want to talk about with Tyler? Carlos?
Who's Carlos?
Yeah, who is Carlos?
Games?
Like my favorite games?
Yeah.
Um, my favorite games are like if I really had to make a list right now, Resident Evil 4, and it's also God Hand. I also like God Hand. I also like Metal Gear Solid 3. I also like the Resident Evil 2 remake. That's also pretty awesome. Like I think it's like one of the best ones so far for the remake series. But in general, I play like a different types of games. I play like action, horror, adventure, platformers. And so when I saw like their announcement about like the Crash Bandicoot collection or like Spiral the Dragon, I
Love,
immediately got the games and I just love playing those games because those were my childhood stuff.
love Spyro and Crash.
Oh
I love
yes. And I think the best one of the Crash trilogy from the past was
Warped.
yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, Warps. But my second favorite was like the Rapid Cortex. As far as like the other platformers I used to play in the past, I used to play like a lot of Jack and Dexter, like Jack 1, Jack 2, Jack 3. I also used to play Ratchet and Clank. And it's kind of funny. I only played the PS2 games for Ratchet and Clank, but I never played the newer ones yet.
You mean Cortex Strikes Back, right?
Yeah. Well, no. Ratchet and Clank. That's a different series.
Yeah, I was talking about the Crash trilogy, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like my second favorite game for Rafa Cortex. No, not Rafa Cortex.
Yeah, it's Cortex Strikes Back.
Cortex Strikes Back. Yeah, that's my second favorite game in the franchise.
That's it.
Alright.
And there's of course we all love those PS1 classics like Tomb Raider and 1 and 2, and then Tekken 3, and all the way up to Metal Gear Solid, the first one, and Parasite Eve, and Final Fantasy 7 and 8.
It's kind of funny because I feel like Metal Gear Solid 1 is like a blessing and a curse because for that game, it kind of made games more cinematic. But
Yeah.
now that it made it more cinematic, like everybody want to replicate it, and it makes games less fun. So
But it is revolutionary. That with
yeah.
Final Fantasy 7, 8, and Parasite Eve, like video games got more sophisticated and complex from that point on.
Yeah.
Like before that, games were just games, just pastimes. You weren't really meant to think about them that much.
Right.
Think Pong.
Pong, Pac-Man.
Yeah. Not really deep story-driven games.
I also really love Max Payne and that and the second one, and the Kingdom Hearts 2, and
Oh man, like it's kind of funny because I got that collection for PS4 for Kingdom Hearts, and I just loved those games, especially like the second game. And it's kind of funny because prior to me getting the PS4 collection, I had the PS2 games, but I wanted to get like the other games, so I figured why not get the collection. And it still amazes me how good it looks, even though it was like made in 2005.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it looks like.
Long
And
time.
also, like, there's another game that's also looks pretty good, even though it's really, really old. It's like Silent Hill 2 and 3. They still look really good for games that came out in 2001 and 2003.
And what was I gonna say next? Yeah, especially Metal Gear Solid is my favorite series, and Assassin's Creed also, since I'm a history buff.
I don't think I've ever played any sort of Assassin's Creed game, but I want to play it in the future, though.
I'm sorry, you got to get to it.
Okay, I will try to at least play the first one at least.
Play them in I would say play them in chronological order, but play the first one also, so you can get a feel for it.
Okay. All right.
Well, it was nice having a conversation with you. This should be up, maybe by tomorrow sometime. I'll make sure to send you the link.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. And also, I really appreciate you two talking to me and interviewing me. It's been fun sharing my thoughts and perspective with you guys. And I guess, should I just like send my social media information for everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at Tyler Preston 20. And I cover a variety of different topics. I talk about current events. I talk about the games. Godzilla. I talk about just anything on my mind. So check me out on my YouTube channel at Tyler Preston 20.
All right. You heard it, audience. Go subscribe to his channel and follow him on Twitter. All right. This has been Purple Pill Preston, and see y'all next time.
Bye-bye, everybody.